Hello, this is cjhoyle. Today is Saturday, September the 18th, 2021, and today I'm riding my bike here in Toronto's East Chinatown, starting from here at the intersection of Broadview and Gerrard Street East. In this video, I'm going to be riding west to University Avenue along Gerrard Street. And as I begin my ride, I'm passing over on my right. Just to the north of here is the Bridgepoint Health, which you can see a sign for up ahead there on the right. Bridgepoint Health is a hospital that sits on the former site of the Don Jail, which was a jail here in Toronto for many years. The hospital has actually incorporated one of the old buildings from the jail as part of their hospital. I believe it's used for office space. Straight ahead from here, we've got a bridge to go over. This bridge goes across the Don Valley. Down below in the Don Valley is the Don River, as well as the Don Valley Parkway Highway. Also, the Don Trail, as well as a set of railway tracks, and also Bayview Avenue. Quite a few things are down there in that valley. Earlier this year, I made a video where I rode my bike on the lower Don Trail, and I came up, actually I went down from here, so I went underneath of this bridge, and I also made a video where I paddled my kayak up the Don River, and I went as far as Bloor Street, so again, I went underneath of that bridge that we just saw there. And the Don Valley kind of forms a barrier between the east part of Toronto and the main part. The part where we are right now is still considered the East End, but there is a further separation beyond here. The street we're about to cross here is called River Street. It's a relatively short north-south street which has bike lanes on it. I'm sure one day I'll get around to making a video riding my bike on that street. So as I continue my way heading in the west direction, I'm now riding through an area which over on my right is known as Cabbagetown, and the area to the south of here on my left is called Regent Park. If we were to go back to the early 1900s, all of this land around here was known as Cabbagetown. And Regent Park is a housing development that came about in the 1940s. And essentially it was a redevelopment of this area. And it's a public housing development. And essentially Cabbagetown was sort of known as had a reputation for kind of being like the slums of the city. Fair bit of poverty and crime in this area, so they wanted to redevelop the area into something different, so they built all these housing buildings. And I guess the idea was to try to improve that situation, but didn't really work, unfortunately. And many years later now, they're in the process of redeveloping Regent Park once again. Those buildings that you can see back there on my left, those were all some of the original Regent Park buildings, but further to the south of here, quite a few of the original buildings have been replaced with newer buildings. Up ahead here we've got an intersection to cross. This is Parliament Street, and from here Gerrard Street kind of takes a little bit of a jog to the north from here. From what I understand, Gerrard was not one of the original streets that formed the original grid of Toronto that they laid out, so it was kind of pieced together with whatever land was available years later. just trying to talk over this loud music this person is subjecting the rest of the population on this street to, which is kind of unfortunate. And of course YouTube likes content that's original and doesn't have copyright in it, so I have to make sure that I'm speaking louder than the music that's coming out as I wait for this traffic light to change. So yeah, up ahead here you can see Parliament taking a curve, just a slight one before it straightens back out again. Gerrard has a number of these sort of curves in them. There's a quite significant one out further in the east end. One of the reasons I selected this portion of Gerrard to make this video about today was because of its bike lanes. They're not continuous, but the portion where the bridge was had a bike lane on it. And there's a bit of a gap, and now it's picked up again. And these bike lanes go pretty much all the way to University Avenue, which is the western terminus of Gerrard Street. The next intersection up ahead is Sherborne Street, which is a north-south street that has a protected bike lane on it. That's a street that I've made a video about quite a few years ago. And just beyond Sherborne is a park, which is known as the Allen Gardens. The Allen Gardens includes a conservatory building that you can see over on the right. Basically a big glass greenhouse. But this one was originally built back in 1910. And it's a city-operated facility, and I believe there's no price for admission, so it's a place that you can go for free, and it's quite a nice place. I actually went there for my first time right before the pandemic hit. I'm not sure what level of openness it has right now, but definitely somewhere I recommend checking out when it's feasible to do so. Over here on the right, we're passing the Jarvis Street Baptist Church, which is an old church built back in 1875. And of course that church is named after this street that I'm just crossing there. Jarvis Street is a north-south street that one day I'll make a video about, I'm sure, riding my bike along. And that motorcycle with the loud music is now turned off, so I don't have to listen to them anymore, thankfully. So these bike lanes here on Gerrard came in about 5 years ago or so. I don't exactly remember the year, but I remember the year that it happened. It was the cover photo of the bike map that the city issued that year. The city puts out a bike map every year, and usually the cover of it will have a picture of whatever new project has come up in the last year or so. It was around the time when the city first started experimenting with installing protected bike lanes like this that have separation from the rest of the road, like these bollards that you can see up here on the left. They don't exactly protect cyclists from cars, accidentally crossing over the line, but they do a pretty good job of keeping vehicles from parking in the bike lane and blocking them. So this next intersection up ahead is Yonge Street, which divides the city of Toronto in half. The road that we were riding on was actually called Gerrard Street East, but now that we've crossed Yonge, we're now on Gerrard Street West. Gerrard Street West is the much shorter portion because it only goes as far as University Avenue. This street received some upgrades in terms of its cycling infrastructure relatively recently. Those concrete curbs that you can see there in the middle, those were added. And this next intersection up ahead is Bay Street, which is one that I made a video riding my bike down probably almost 2 years ago now. I do eventually plan on trying to make a video covering all the major streets here in Toronto. But some of my earlier videos doing this, I was using older technology. So they were in much lower resolution videos, so I also do want to gradually go and film those streets again and get better quality video of everything. And of course, the city is constantly evolving. So it's kind of fun to have an old video and a new video, being able to compare how things have changed. Got another red light here. The street's called Elizabeth Street, and we're just entering a portion of University Avenue up ahead, which is called Hospital Row. That's because of all the various different hospitals that are along here. The one that we'll be passing on the left there, the one you can actually see right now, that's called the Hospital for Sick Children, or Sick Kids Hospital. And the one that's up ahead on the right is called the Toronto General Hospital. And there's my green light. And the hospital, which is straight ahead from here once we get past this intersection, or basically where Gerrard Street ends, is Mount Sinai Hospital. But yeah, that street that you can see up ahead where the traffic light is, that is University Avenue, which has my favorite bike lane in the city on it. I've made a couple of videos riding my bike on University Avenue in recent years. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed joining me on this narrated tour of Gerrard Street. If you watched all the way to the end of this video, I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.